Virgin Most Powerful Radio, sharing the gospel with clarity and charity.
I'm a soldier for Christ. I'm a soldier for Christ. I'm a soldier. No, they'll never take us under, because we're bringing truth like thunder. Raining on your speakers like a ton of bricks. Hold the cross high, cause we're Catholics. Fight the good fight with the truth. Stand tall with the truth. I'm a warrior for Christ. I'm in love with the truth. Love God, save souls, slay error. Go stronger. Go stronger.
America, wake up to Jesus. Don't hit the snooze button. Global warming alert. Jesus is coming. Are you ready? We are the Terry and Jesse show. Yep. We're reporting for duty. Terry, Absolutely. Are you on duty, my friend?
Jesse, I'm reporting for duty, and I'm just blessed so much to be here every day to share the good news of Jesus Christ and his bride, the church. And Jesse, we have a special show. I've got a good news story later in the show that I'm going to share that's going to bring you to joy, and you want to share this with your friends. But before we have a good news story, Jesse, every single day we have the highest food on the food chain, at the Word of God. We're going to be reading from the Gospel of today's Mass. And Jesse, that is taken from Mark chapter 7, verse 1 to 3. Could you proclaim that word, brother?
Absolutely. Mark 7, 1 to 13.
Yep.
When the Pharisees with some scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. So the Pharisees and the Sadducees, this is the Jewish establishment. Mm-hmm. They're the religious and political leaders at the time of Christ. And they, by the way, they spoke with the authority of Moses. That was the magisterium, if for lack of better terms. Okay. It says, for the Pharisees, and in fact all Jews, do not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And on coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. And there are many other things that they have traditionally observed, the purification of cups and jugs and kettles and beds. So the Pharisees and scribes questioned Jesus. Mm-hmm. Why do your disciples not follow the traditions of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands? He responded, well did Isaiah prophesy about you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts. You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition. He went on to say, how well you have set aside the commandment of God in order to uphold your tradition. For Moses said, honor your father and your mother, and whoever curses father or mother shall die. Yet you say, if someone says to father or mother, any support you might have had from me is korban, meaning dedicated to God. You allow him to do nothing more for his father or mother. You nullify the word of God, by the way, the fourth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, in favor of your tradition that you have handed on, and you do many such things, the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Two very important points. Jesus, I'll tell you who Jesus didn't have compassion for, and this is why I feel sorry for corrupt bishops, cardinals, and priests. The people that Jesus did not have compassion for are leaders. I'm going to tell you right now, he has compassion on prostitutes, on thieves, lay people that throw themselves at his feet, dismiss, I'm sorry, Jesus. Man, Jesus has so much. I'll tell you who he doesn't have mercy on. People that are the magisterium, that should know better, that have a teaching authority. Boy, oh boy, he railed against them. And I just say that because I wouldn't, that's why James chapter 3 verse 1 says it's a very, very, don't want to be a teacher in the church. Don't aspire to that, because boy, oh boy, are you going to be held to a higher standard. Who are the teachers of the church? The bishops. Now, the second thing that this thing jumps out at me here, what's happening? The Jews made a man-made law so they don't have to help out their parents. Remember, there's no pensions, Social Security, there's no welfare back then. So if the parents are poor and old and infirm, in the Jewish culture, the children are supposed to take care of the infirm parents. Well, the infirm parent, the kids are saying, well, we got a new law here. It's called Korban. We don't got to take care of mom and dad no more because our money is dedicated to the temple. So what's Jesus Christ telling them? You bunch of hypocrites.
Exactly.
You have made some man-made law that goes against the fourth commandment. You can't make laws that go against God's commandments. And to take it fast forward to right now, I'll give you an example of that. The Italian bishops published a prayer to this Pachamama earth goddess. What have they done? Jesus would tell the Italian bishops the same thing. You bunch of hypocrites. You've made a man-made tradition to pray to an Amazon earth goddess in violation of the first commandment? You hypocrites. Or what about the indigenous woman that led the bishops in prayer to Pachamama at the Vatican Christmas concert? What would Jesus Christ say to all those bishops and cardinals that are praying to Pachamama, this idol earth goddess? Jesus would say, are you kidding me? You're allowing a pagan woman from the Amazon to lead you, successors of the apostles, in a prayer to a demon? You are breaking God's commandment, the first commandment, for your man-made traditions of accompanying pagans, of meeting people where they're at. Terry, I just want to give a practical application.
That's very well said, Jesse. Very well said. Jesse, today is a great feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. And, she appeared 18 times in 1858. The last time was on Our Lady of Mount Carmel, July 16th, 1858. And I would ask our listeners to Google Our Lady of Lourdes because there's a message that is profound about Mary being the Immaculate Conception. And if you haven't seen the movie back in the 1950s on Bernadette, oh, that's a classic picture. Jesse, I still watch that black and white because I think it's a great movie. But I want to just say that Fulton Sheen also had a great devotion to Our Lady of Lourdes. He went there over 50 times in his life. And I've been there at least 3 times in my life. It's one of my favorite Marian shrines. So I'd ask you to look that one up because it is powerful. Jesse, just one more thought about your gospel reading. Monsignor Harris says our morning mass here at the chapel. He had a very interesting comment. Pretty much what you were saying, Jesse, about the Kaban. But he said that for many people, they would put that money aside and say, oh, yeah, that's for the temple worship, and then never use it for the temple worship. And then they go and, use it for their own sake. And he said that was very common in the Jews because they were just trying to, stash some money away and be selfish. And so, nothing's changed.
As your mom and dad are dying.
Yeah. But
they have no food and nowhere to live.
Yeah.
But your money is dedicated to the Korban.
Yeah, well, we're continuing that tradition, and I'll tell you, in my humble opinion, because a lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their elderly parents, and I've met many of them at rest homes where they never get a visit from their kids or they just had forgotten. As a matter of fact, Jesse, we just buried a military guy here at our chapel who was a veteran from the Vietnam era, and the body sat for 3 weeks in the morgue. The kids, the family, nobody wanted him, so we took him. Gave him a good burial here at the Sacred Heart Chapel. But there's an example of kids not taking their responsibilities of the fourth commandment to honoring their parents. And this is not going to go away, but I'll tell you how it does go away. I'll tell you, by embracing the Word of God, by embracing Jesus Christ and His bride, the church, and living a life of sacrifice, a life of grace. That's how we're going to take care of our parents because we know that we have the obligation before God, not before man.
Amen. Terry, I'll tell you, we got some good stuff coming up. We're going to be talking about the abortion giant, Planned Parenthood, this abortion monster.
Yeah, we got to expose
They're opening up a lot of centers in Los Angeles high schools.
Yes.
I know why they're opening up in Los Angeles. I'll tell you why. We'll also be talking about the pop culture.
Oh, this is good.
This is about social media.
Yeah,
people don't realize that social media actually does more harm than good to young people.
Big time.
And I'll be taking off to a dentist appointment. Terry's going to be talking about
can't wait.
why people vape.
I can't wait.
And the fact that people are dying and nobody cares because it's politically incorrect to talk against vaping. That's why.
And Jesse, just a teaser, it's tied into a book that Jess Romero put together on 50 questions on marijuana. I want to encourage people, when I get on that last segment, to go to jesseromero.com and pick up his book, because the vaping has a connection with THC that's in marijuana. So, Jess, I know you got to go to the dentist, but I'm going to give it my best shot in the last segment. The people, you won't want to miss it, because that's when I'm going to give my good news story of a woman. Are you ready? It's a teaser. Who was 40 years old and was told by a doctor, you need to abort that baby. Wait till you hear the story. The dialogue is tremendous. It's a woman who is in love with Jesus Christ, and she told the doctor where to go. And I want you to hear that story at the end of the fourth segment. Jesse.
Let me just mention, Terry, that on this date in 1858, a beautiful woman first appeared to 14-year-old Bernadette Subaru, a poor French girl.
Yes.
This woman was clothed in a dazzling white dress girded in blue.
Oh, yeah.
And the woman appeared in a dirty, dank hole, a stone grotto known to the locals as the pig's shelter. On March 25th, this woman revealed her name. She says, I'm the Immaculate Conception. Well, guess what? Only 4 years earlier, Pope Pius IX had declared the dogma that Mary had been immaculately conceived in the womb of her mother.
I love it.
Receiving the saving graces of her son in anticipation of her divine motherhood. And so basically heaven just came to confirm that Marian dogma. Today, the grotto at Lourdes, France receives 6 million visitors each year.
Wow.
Our Lady of Lourdes, pray for us.
Hey, don't forget the Adoramus Conference is coming up, folks. You want to go to it and learn more about the liturgy, because the way you worship is the way you believe. You can go to virginmostpowerfulradio.org or call 877-526-2151. When we come back, we're going to expose one of the devil's biggest companies. It's called Planned Parenthood. And I mean it. The devil is in charge of Planned Parenthood. You'll find out what they're doing on Virgin Most Powerful. We need to pray and make reparation for that. We'll be right back. We finally did it. We have a Catholic Mental Health Conference on April 25th, 2020, here at the Sacred Heart Chapel with Dr. Louis Sandoval. He's going to be speaking on the basics of mental illness versus what we consider normal. Number one, he's going to go on the basics of mental illness versus what we consider normal. Second hour, depression, anxiety versus oppression and obsession. The third hour, bipolar disorders. Oh my gosh, infestation and possession. He's going to talk on mental health with the spiritual aspect. Number 4 talk will be on drug use, altered mental status versus demonic influence. I want to hear that talk. I hope you do too. Go to virginmostpowerfulradio.org or call us at 877-526-2151. The date is April 25th, 2020. Be there by calling 877-526-2151. God bless you.
In 1 Corinthians 13:13, St. Paul says, "So there abide faith, hope, and love, these three." According to St. Ignatius of Antioch, faith is the beginning and love is the end. And God is the two of them brought into unity. Then comes everything else that makes up a Christian. May God grant that we may attain all the virtues that make for authentic followers of His Son.
This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Oh, the city, Nuestra Señora de Los Angeles, Our Lady, Queen of the Angels, is attacked again. And I think it's not a coincidence because of the name.
Yeah.
Look at what's attacked. Sacramento, sacrament.
Yeah.
Nuestra Señora de Los Angeles, Our Lady of the Angels. The devil's going after some of these cities, and I think a lot of it has to do because he doesn't like the name, and he knows there's a lot of Catholics that live there. How is he doing this? Well, Planned Parenthood is pioneering a new model of reproductive health services. Just call it like it is.
Of course.
Abortion and sexual immorality training.
Exactly.
And they're providing this to Los Angeles County teens by opening 50 clinics at area high schools. The program announced last Wednesday. They launched in partnership with the LA School District and the LA County Health Department. So they're all in on this because they believe this is going to be the most ambitious effort in the country to bring these type of services. Here it is. Here's their justification: to at-risk students in public schools. Here's my take. This is Jess's thoughts. Planned Parenthood, the LA County Department of Health Department, and LA County School District, all of them, without knowing, okay, are being impelled by Satan, okay? And they're purposely targeting the low-hanging fruit because most of these students are Mexican.
Got it.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Most of them are children of illegal immigrants from south of the border who are disconnected with the culture of death fueled by liberal progressive politics, because when they all go home from work, any Hispanic in the Southwest, and they turn on to Spanish television or Spanish radio, it's all hard left. It's all socialism. And so they're basically, they know this is low-hanging fruit. We can get the largest school district in the world to over-sexualize them and destroy their innocence and teach these dumb Hispanics. I mean, this is how they look at them. They'll say, let's get these dumb Hispanics like guinea pigs, and let's normalize sexual promiscuity, and let's just feed right into their concupiscence or fallen nature. Heck, the church is not going to oppose us, and no politician's going to oppose us here because we run the state hook, line, and sinker. That's what's happening here, Terry.
You nailed it, Jesse. And as you probably remember, we quoted this last month when Bishop David O'Connell, the auxiliary bishop of the San Gabriel region, went to Planned Parenthood, the brand new office in Baldwin Park, and took 600 lay people with him and did a procession of prayer, trying and spiritual prayers of warfare to that clinic. Okay, and now some of our listeners who have been communicating with me are still going there and praying prayers at that clinic. And I just want to say that I think that's what the response should be, is we need to make reparation. We need to pray because we're in a battle. As a matter of fact, Jesse, the quote I have for Fulton Sheen will fit right in. Get on board this train, folks, with Bishop Sheen. This fits right with what we're talking about with Planned Parenthood. Bishop Sheen says, the devil may have his hour, but God will have his day. See, the devil is the CEO of Planned Parenthood. Yeah, you didn't know that? Well, think about what they do. They kill unborn babies, okay? That's what their business is. They can say that they have other things they do, but the money that they make, they pay their salaries to cover their overhead, it's a killing machine, Jesse. That's basically what Planned Parenthood's plan is for their business. And what I'd say is that, why do I say it's Satan? Because Satan does everything the opposite way. God brings forth life, Satan destroys it.
I'll make it simple. Right from the Catechism. The Catechism says that the devil, paragraph 407, he dominates the world. He has a certain domination over mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, how does he dominate the world? The Catechism says he uses social structures of sin. That's the word used by the Catechism. Social structures of sin. What's a social structure of sin? Planned Parenthood.
Amen.
Playboy, Penthouse. I'm just giving you, these are companies or corporations that the only reason they exist is to promote sin and evil and lies and deception. And what's Planned Parenthood going to do with these LA County schools that are top heavy with Hispanics? They're gonna offer a full range of birth control options, testing and treatment for STDs, pregnancy counseling, and for an estimated 75,000 teens. And then they're going to train hundreds of teenagers, get this, to be peer advocates to help provide information to other teens about safe sex and relationships.
Really?
Okay. So what do we call this? The Bible, Jesus calls this in the Bible, the blind leading the blind.
Amen.
Can you imagine? Teens training other teens on safe sex. Okay? And a Planned Parenthood staffer is going to oversee the training, by the way. Again, this is classic blind leading the blind. So students are going to be able to walk into the clinics or make appointments. They're going to be allowed to leave class for them. And information about the appointments is going to be in a protected medical file, not accessible to school officials. Mm-hmm. And under California law, remember, the Democrats have passed that minors can consent to certain medical services, such as receiving birth control or mental health counseling and healthcare providers, and they don't have to inform their parent. They can do all these things without a parent's consent, just with the minor's permission. That's all they need.
Just remember, when you go to vote 10 months from now, Jesse, I want to bring this up because Planned Parenthood is going to get funding from any Democrat that's running for the presidency of the United States.
They always do.
Yes, but here's my point. What we just talked about, do you want to support that? Then don't vote for people who are going to give funding to Planned Parenthood. I'll just be quite frank again. I've shared this with people before. President Trump is taking funding away from Planned Parenthood. And he said he was going to do that back in 2015. And Jesse, I'll just might add, we as a radio host were telling people, look, if he says he's going to do it, we got to go based on what he's saying. Just like on the other side, when they say we're going to give funding to Planned Parenthood, they probably will because they've been doing that in the past. They've been on. They've honored that on their platform. So let's make sure we understand the consequences of our vote, Jesse. We're responsible in a direct way. If we vote one way to support Planned Parenthood, we're participating in those abortions by our participation, by our vote. So keep that in mind, everybody. I have to bring that up to you because I want you to be held to the standard of what Jesus Christ taught about the sacredness of life.
Yeah, silence is tacit approval.
There you go.
Remember that.
There you go.
Silence is tacit approval. And the article just backs up what Terry just said right here. It says, California has taken a leading role in pushing back against efforts by the Trump administration and conservative legislators to cut government funds for Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers, impose new restrictions on abortion, and shift the conversation about teens and sex towards abstinence. In October, this is horrible right here, what I'm about to read. California became the first state to require its public colleges and universities to offer abortion medication under a law signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat.
You think?
So the Planned Parenthood officials involved in this project, they said that they selected the schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District, the nation's second largest. They were targeted because, here's what they said, because they are largely low income and have no similar medical providers in the vicinity. No, here's what they didn't say. I'll tell you what they didn't say. Because they look at them as stupid Hispanics that don't know their faith, are not well-formed in politics, are not well-formed in right and wrong in their moral conscience, and they see them as low-hanging fruit. Okay, this is all baloney saying, oh, we chose them because they're largely low income. There's low income in New Jersey and Philadelphia. There's all over the country pockets of low income. They chose them because they have Democrats have contempt for Hispanics. That's why.
Jesse, okay? I got to enter.
One more sentence.
Go ahead.
2 public health officials trained by Planned Parenthood will be stationed full-time at each school to provide education and counseling. And a Planned Parenthood nurse practitioner or other medical provider will come once a week. Go ahead, Terry.
Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, brother. It's not only Hispanics. It's black babies too, brother. Remember the website?
In New York, you go after the black baby.
Exactly.
Yeah, because most of the abortions in New York are blacks. Most of the abortions in California are Hispanics. So in both coasts.
Both cases.
In both cases, in both, East and West Coast.
Yep.
Margaret Sanger.
You got it.
Her extermination project of dark people is working like a charm.
And then
thanks to, again, the Democrat Party.
That's what I wanted to point out, Jesse, that they're consistent in that. Jesse, last thing about abortion, and that is, as Christians, and we have some non-Catholics listening, I just have to ask yourself that old statement, people laugh when I say, what would Jesus do? Well, I know what Jesus is all about. It's about life, not death. And this whole aspect of Planned Parenthood, we have to do everything in our powers to stop Planned Parenthood because they have been killing millions of babies for years, and many of us have just looked the other way. Well, it's time to say, no, we're going to take action, our prayers, our actions, and the way we vote to stop Planned Parenthood because, as I said, the CEO is Satan, and because they're killing our future citizens. And that's just against what natural law is, supernatural law. There's no good in that. And so we have to do our best to stop it.
Pray for Archbishop Gomez because I hope him and Bishop Van do something about this. This is right in their backyard.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
They're going after their sheep, and they're the shepherds. And right here, the article says in Los Angeles, Sister Paula Vandegar, head of Volunteers for Life, which opposes abortion rights, said she is against the Planned Parenthood initiative because it pushes sexuality beyond where they should without reference to families. She says, I'm against them being in the schools. They all have school nurses, and there's no need for Planned Parenthood to co-opt the normal program for health in the school. I'm glad that none spoke up.
Absolutely.
I hope Archbishop Gomez speaks out and Bishop Van. They're the shepherds. They're the papas of the diocese, and these are their sheep that they're going after to over-sexualize them, teach them how to live in mortal sin and kill their babies and stuff. So I'm expecting the shepherds to stand up and say something.
And that's why Bishop David O'Connell, our shepherd here in the Covina area, the San Gabriel region, he actually took action and said prayers of spiritual warfare prayers, took 600 people to the Planned Parenthood office, their brand new office in Baldwin Park. That's the kind of leadership our shepherds need to do. And I just want to say thank you, Bishop O'Connell, and I wish all bishops would stand up. Because you know what, Jesse? There are bishops who say, you can't go to abortion clinics and pray. He's actually the bishop, the cardinal in Chicago when he was in Spokane, Kupich. He wouldn't allow people to go and pray, which is totally lack of leadership. Why do I say you got a good bishops? You got some bishops who are just plain, they're toothless. They won't allow us to come and pray at an abortion clinic. Why are you a shepherd?
Pope Pius X calls them modernists.
Yeah, they're modernists. And so we need to pray for their conversion. But again, I just want to thank Bishop David O'Connell in my backyard for leading people to pray at abortion clinics, because that's how it's going to stop. Because where's the church going? Where its leaders take it.
Terry, the Planned Parenthood, here's how they're trying to sell this to the low information students and parents at the LA Unified School District. Okay, yeah. They're calling these clinics. They're not calling them Planned Parenthood abortion.
Oh no, clinics. We can't do that.
No, they're calling them well-being centers.
Oh,
well-being. See, that language is found in every healthcare plan. You look at, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Kaiser. It says, well-being. So I said, okay, that's a good thing. This health plan is for my well-being. They're calling these clinics well-being centers, and this way they want to dumb down the language. And this is the way they're going to just slip it into the LA Unified School District, because people are going to say, oh, of course we want these well-being centers for our kids. Latinos are being used as guinea pigs.
This is Matthew Arnold for Virgin Most Powerful Radio. This March, VMPR, in association with the Catholic Resource Center, will be hosting a special conference for the Adoramus Society. Adoramus at the Triduum, a conference on the spirituality of the Triduum liturgies, featuring speakers Father Joseph Fessio, Dr. Anthony Lillis, and Christopher Karstens, addressing such topics as developing a liturgical spirituality, the spirituality of Holy Thursday, the spirituality of Good Friday, and the spirituality of the Paschal Vigil and Easter season. It all takes place March 14, 2020, at the historic Sacred Heart Chapel at 381 West Center Street, Covina, California, 91723. You can register online at vmpr.org or call now at 877-526-2151 to reserve your seat today for Adoramus at the Triduum.
This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for supporting Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And here's an easy way to support us by going to smile.amazon.com and type in Catholic Resource Center or Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And when you log in your Amazon account and you purchase products, a portion of it will go right back in supporting Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And it doesn't cost you a dime. I want to thank you ahead of time because that supports us year-round. May God bless you and your family. This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Did you know that social media, it really isn't social and it can harm young people?
Absolutely.
Yep, that's true. Did you know that on December 26th, a 17-year-old by the name of Burris Gowdy from Deerfield Beach, Florida, posted a tweet, said, quote, "To be or not to be," close quote. A few days later, this poor young girl committed suicide. Okay?
Yep.
The tell-all tweet is typical of how social media has dominated the lives of young people. Even a lot of young people are announcing their suicides on social media for everybody to see.
So sad.
And that platforms, the platforms are increasingly used to express desperation in the face of depression. This use of social media highlights the mistaken role that the platforms have assumed. The big problem with social media is that it's not social.
Nope.
In other words, you could be in a basement just tweeting and Facebooking all day and not have a friend in the world. This is virtual reality, as they say. They are virtual bulletin boards of messages that often convey images meant to impress others like, wow, look at me, look at my muscles, look how much money I've got, look at my car. But guess what? They can present optimistic versions of life that differ from and even distort reality. However, they're not social institutions that favor community life. Terry?
Jesse, just before I continue to read, I just want to mention something. A baby will die if it's not being held because it needs that that person, whether it's the mother or someone holding the baby. And when we don't have social interaction, we die. We need that. And social media doesn't do that. So indeed, social media cannot substitute the warmth of a real human relationship in which qualities and defects appear. There's no time for deep bonding with people that normally help overcome obstacles and crises. The instant messaging is too shallow to go beyond the posting of a like. Thus, social media can be dangerous to those who suffer from emotional distress and using the platform to reach out. Jesse, there are so many people emotionally wounded in our country. Think of all the marriages that have fallen apart. They didn't grow up with a dad and a mom together, and then they go online for social media. Oh, no. Mental health experts are finding that young people are using social media to post their distress or even their final farewell to the world, like Jesse explained. Depressed individuals hope to be noticed, but expect not to be ignored, right? Instead of finding comfort, they find others like them. Together, they inhabit dark and dangerous places on social media that encourages self-harm and even serve as a springboard to suicide. I'm going to let you finish, Jess, here, but I want to mention a connection with social media. 80% of human trafficking, guess where it comes from? Social media. There you go, Jess.
And that's one of the biggest problems that we're facing with right now.
Partner.
These young people are far from hiding their feelings. Their afflictions are in plain sight. They post them.
Yep.
However, nobody has time to see and act on them because these desperate young people will post messages with hashtags like hashtag KMS, kill myself, or hashtag hate myself.
Yeah.
There's an entire subculture that exists with these encrypted words. I don't even understand them, Terry.
I don't either, Jesse.
I have to ask my young people, young people, hey, what does this mean? Some are even called secret societies in social media, And far from the monitoring of parents, and heck, most parents don't even know how to get into this stuff, okay? Be honest with you. More explicit sites will openly encourage self-cutting or ending one's life with messages like "you're better off dead." And therefore, social media, it does not prevent youth suicide. Despite young people crying out for help, the desperate messages of disturbed youth are often ignored, or even just somebody just posts a liked or shared on social media. And this is the wrong kind of communication because, could it be that social media is also one of the causes of youth suicide? Well, at first glance, it appears that social media would not be a cause, since imperfect though it may be, the platforms at least provide for people to talk with each other. But it's the wrong type of communication because it tends to isolate people. Young people will immerse themselves on their smartphone for hours instead of seeking actual social interaction with other people. So social media can form a vicious circle by both isolating you and binding up participants in their web, kind of like a spider web. And so they limit their physical involvement with others while they expand their social validation. They feel good in the form of these superficial likes and all these friends that are following me. But it's the wrong kind of communication for a young person at a time when they need affection, they need direction, and they need support.
You nailed it. And Jesse, is there a connection for suicide? Think about the facts. The last 25 years, we've had social media. Suicide has gone up 300% for our young people. Is there a connection? I think so. See, the problem with social media is that it fails to address the spiritual needs based on human nature. All human beings are social by nature. Everyone is destined to live in community by design, not accident. St. Augustine says that nothing is as social by nature as man is, and only by his own guilt does he succumb to discord. Jesse, think about this. We've had earthquakes out here in California where we lose our power, and then everybody in the neighborhood starts to meet each other for the first time. You know why? Because before, we would go home from work, get in our house, shut our door, never meet anybody. But when a crisis comes, like an earthquake, and everybody's barbecue, hey, come on over to our house. We're going to eat here. We got the barbecue. You got this. And everybody's becoming to know each other. But in our culture that we're in right now, that's pretty much like not many people even know who their neighbor is across the street or who lives next door on the right or the left. That's real common, and I think that also supports this article. Now, Jesse, there's a strong social instinct that is impossible to suppress. All human inclinations presuppose social life. All of the powers, capacities of the soul are directed towards community. Thus, the most important events of life are embedded in social institutions. We know that, especially in our faith, our religion, community, family, that allows individuals to develop their full potential. Individuals are contingent beings. They need others to confront life's cruel hardships, right? The individual greatest joy comes from knowing and loving other individuals. Without love, there's nothing. And that's why, as Christianity, when it first started out, Jesse, every 10 years for the first 300 years, it doubled in numbers because they loved the secular people that were in the culture at the time, and they couldn't figure out how these Christians would love even the unlovable. See, so we need to repeat that again. Convert the secular culture through our love.
And also, Terry, there's a thing called the Benedict option.
Oh, yeah.
That, it's good to live close to a lot of people that are believers as well.
Absolutely. Show me
make a network. Make a network where you live. Get to know all the believers, within a 1 mile radius.
That's right.
Call the Benedict option and network with them and encourage each other.
Sure.
And get together with each other for fellowship.
Yep.
The article says institutions like the family are intensely social with constant contact between its members. Inside such communities, individuals find protection and the means to survive and prosper. They also find fulfillment by their contributions to society and the recognition of their qualities. Communities bind individuals and families together into an order that provides stability and purpose. They connect people to supernatural ends by assisting people in knowing, loving, and serving God. The more intense the links between individuals, the more their personalities are stable. In other words, I could wrap this up in saying, as Fulton Sheen says, no man is an island.
There you go.
What did he mean by that? None of us were meant to live in isolation. That's what he meant by that. In fact, what is heaven? It's a community of saints. What is God? A communion of persons. Terry.
Well said, Jesse. I want to make an encouragement for our family life. Remember how dinners in the years past, everybody sat down to have a meal together. That's when we had the conversation about what went on during the day. I think we really need to bring that back and get rid of the social media. I know a friend of mine who said, Jesse, when you come into my house to talk to me, he's got a little bucket right by the kitchen or the front door, and it says cell phones. And he says, you put the cell phone right here because we're going to talk. And I thought, wow, that guy, hey, I need to do that. But
he's on it.
He's on it. Social media cannot proper communities. It cannot form proper communities. Its communities lack the profundity and the warmth that individual needs and experiences with full use of the senses. That's what we're saying. Trying to have a meal together with someone. Social media can also distort reality, exclude misfortune, and thus discourage need to bond with others. You know what I've noticed, Jesse, with people who have mental issues, like they have a hard time just being with people to go have a meal, or they stay, indoors, and they're paranoid about everybody coming out to get them. They're all after them because for some reason they didn't integrate with their social media, with the social of their family. Something didn't connect with them. And you know what I think one of the biggest problems is? It's guys like us, Jesse, dads. Without dad taking leadership in the family, the people are going to just go to the gangs. That's what our problem was here in Southern California. The gangs, because they didn't connect with the family, no father at home, and also social media. They'd rather be on the phone looking on the internet than talking to mom or dad, and that needs to stop.
Yeah, Terry, this is the fake world. Let's just say like fake news. It's the fake world. It's the virtual reality.
You got it.
It's much like, I'll give you an example, a parallel, pornography.
Oh, there you go.
Here's a man that desires intimacy. Okay, he desires physical union. And so, and because for whatever reason, he can't connect with a woman and commit to her in a lifelong relationship called the sacrament of marriage, he has this fake intimacy by watching pornography, virtual reality, and then pleasuring himself. See, that act of sexual intimacy was not made to be done watching your iPhone with your pants down to your ankles, pleasuring yourself in your basement. That act of sexual intimacy was meant to be shared with the lifelong spouse in the sacrament of marriage that we call sexual intimacy. But again, that's once again where social media, even pornography, which is the biggest thing in social media, it's all fake, Terry. It's all fake.
You got it, Jesse. Up next, we're going to be talking about why people vape and die and no one cares. Also, I've got a good news pro-life story that you're not going to want to listen. You're going to want to listen to. Come on in, my love. I've got a great Hello, this is Terry Barber with the Terry and Jesse Show. I'm here with Gil Already. He is the president of the Catholic Men's Fellowship of California. Gil, we got a men's conference coming up.
I appreciate you having me on, Terry, to share about our Rise Up, O Men of God, the Church for You Does Wait, Super Saturday Conference, and it's Saturday, March 28th in Covina at Sacred Heart Catholic Church, 344 West Workman Street in Covina, California.
Who are the speakers?
We have some great speakers lined up. We have Steve Ruda, former captain of the LA Fire Department. He's dynamic. He's energetic. He will really keep the conference moving. We have Monsignor Tim Nichols, the pastor from St. John Vianney's. He's dynamic. Mark McElrath, Father Darren Merlino, a trained exorcist. Charlie Eshelman, a past Navy SEAL. We have Deacon Omar Uriati, who is from our parish, St. Louis de Marillac, and Father Joseph Shea.
And I'll be there myself, giving a little plug for Virgin Most Powerful.
You can reach us at catholicmen.org. Tickets are on sale there. Just follow the link. Tickets are on sale at eventbrite.com. Just be sure to get your tickets now till the 31st for $35 and $45 after that till the day of the conference.
Sign up for this men's conference. Call Gil at 626-841-90. I'm going to make the connection.
I'll be sure to answer your call and give you all the information you need for the Rise Up, O Men of God, for You, the Church Does Wait conference. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate your help.
God bless you. This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Actually, welcome back. It's Terry Barber and Mary Barber. The Bible with the Barbers is on next, so I asked my wife to step in. Jesse had to go to a dentist appointment. And Mary Danielle, I have this great news story before we talk about why people vape and die and no one cares. It's regarding Sheila Walsh. She's a woman that said her doctor called her and said that she was 40 years old and that the baby is not compatible to life, is incompatible with life. And here's what happened next. Wow. They said, well, did you schedule an abortion the next day? We'll take care of that. And she said, no way, I'm a Christian. I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous. Well, she said that she prayed hard, and I love her prayer. Mary Danielle, just think of a woman who's being forced by the doctor to just terminate. They say terminate the pregnancy, kill the baby. She went and she took her feet off. She took her shoes off. She lived in Southern California, went to the beach, and just started praying. She said, Jesus, my heart is aching. I don't understand this at all, but I just want to declare here and now that we are in this together.
Wow.
I've always needed you, but I know right now I need you more than I ever have. I don't know how this will end, but I'm not letting go of you for one moment. What a prayer of just confidence. You didn't promise me happiness, but you did promise you would never leave me.
Wow. I'm
not letting go. I'm not giving up. You and me, we're in it together. So something shifted in herself after that prayer. And she continued the pregnancy, and at 35 weeks, the doctor called her, and basically they said, okay, if you're going to have this baby, here you go. She found out that when she delivered the baby, everything was fine. They wanted this amniocentesis, right? Amniocentesis. Yeah. And that is to check the baby for like retardation or any kind of problems. And they're not always right, but it endangers the baby also.
Yes, it does.
And so if you ever have that, just say no, don't do it.
Yeah.
Please.
Alpha-fetoprotein, sometimes they'll ask you.
Yeah.
And that's basically it's amniocentesis. And yes, they can injure the baby.
And this woman said, I believe in the sovereignty of God. I love it. So do I.
Wow.
And she said, I've often wondered if I was allowed to carry this burden for a while. I don't know the answer, but I do know when my heart was breaking, I learned to hold on to God as I never had done before. And today, my son is 23 years old. His name is Christian. And he just graduated from Texas A&M, and he's now studying clinical psychology at the Houston Baptist University. That's my good news story, Mary.
Awesome. Praise God.
All right. Mary, this is interesting. This next article, vaping has exploded. Have you got any of your sons or daughters vaping? Well, I remember it just exploded the last few years. Yeah. E-cigarette craze was supposed to replace the stigma of tobacco products. Trendy people vape with, all kinds of gadgets. I've seen them. However, last August, our government study reported that vaping was causing major lung and other illness. It has been now confirmed that the practice is responsible for the deaths of 55 young people and adults. Now, upon receiving the news, the media entered into a frenzy, blaming the powerful cigarette lobby for the aggressive promotion of their products to the youth. They blame the fruity flavored products that turn people into victims of addiction. So we all remember that. And at the time of the report, vaping had the potential of being the next great bandwagon to attack corporate interests, call for aggressive government measures and spending. Some actions were taken by Congress. Remember, they raised the age for vaping to 21 years of age. They also had plans to restrict the flavors, one-time use. Okay. However, the intensity of this initial reaction cooled significantly. Why? Are you ready? Where's my drum roll? Well, thank you. Because they found out that it was revealed that most of the injuries and deaths were due to THC, not nicotine.
Funny thing.
Now, the THC is the active ingredient in marijuana, and its vaping is clogging lungs and scrambling minds. Really?
Wow.
Most incidents involve this black market marijuana oils being added to the vaping apparatus, not fruit flavors. Now, here's the interesting thing, Mary, is that the media now wouldn't talk about it. Because THC and marijuana are three names for that we call a sacred cow for the media. They can't be touched in our society because people can condemn cigarettes but not smoking marijuana. Isn't that interesting? And here's the other kicker. Despite the maintained evidence link between cannabis and psychosis is considered settled science, there's no established link. Scholars now that denouncing the charade for creating a link as quickly to an end to career, tragically, not even deaths, increased suicide rates can move people to admit that something is wrong. Why, Mary? Because here's the philosophy of life in our culture. It's all about having a good time. It's me.
Pleasure.
I mean, I want to get high. And I make the connection. I want you to give me your take on this because we just have a few minutes, that this vaping crisis cannot be reduced to a medical issue or a marketing scheme. Yeah. It's something much profound. Marijuana comes from refusal to embrace reality.
Right.
The reason why people defend marijuana literally to death is because it involves a spiritual problem, and they are not going to explore that. And I wanted to ask you, Mary, just my take on this is, in our culture, we also have a pleasure-driven culture. And I want to make the connection, if you hear me, from the pill, which is a contraceptive pill that said people can have all the sex they want, but not the consequences.
Right.
And so we found that nature never forgives because the pill caused a lot of cancer for breast cancer, and that's just the facts.
Ovarian cancer too.
Yes, ovarian cancer. So my point is this. They don't want to talk about the THC because it's so pleasurable. See?
Right.
And just like contraception, we can't stop that because people have a right to have as much fun, as much pleasure. But you know what? That's not compatible with the Christian faith.
No, it's not. And part of the problem here is, where's our hope?
Mm-hmm.
Have we lost our hope? We need to ask ourselves this question very seriously. You know, the work of hope is being able to mortify ourselves. Are we able to mortify ourselves? In little ways throughout the day, we're called to mortify ourselves. If we don't do it in little things, we're going to find ourselves falling in big things like this. People getting addicted to marijuana and then vaping marijuana and dying from it. And people using contraceptives despite the fact that, and by the way, yes, the jury is in. They've done the scientific studies. Yes, there's a direct connection between the use of artificial contraceptives and the increase in breast cancer and the increase in ovarian cancer.
Right.
All right? Read the package inserts. If you ever have anybody who's on any kind of artificial contraceptives, read the package inserts before you use them. That was Anita Romero and Jesse, when they were converted back to the faith and they realized, this using artificial contraception in marriage is not a good thing. And Anita went to the cupboard and she finally got out the package and started reading what she was taking. Anita's a nurse.
Right.
She'd never read it. And she's like, whoa, this stuff is poison. What am I doing?
Yep.
She was waking up. We can anesthetize ourselves against reality to the point of death.
Well said. So the real solution lies in discarding this wrong philosophy of life that demands happiness at any cost.
Right.
Today is a day for people who are suffering, okay? Right. For sick people. This is John Paul II brought this up years ago. So the church has indicated the only path to endure life's hardships is the way of the cross. And I remember what St. John Paul II said to people who were sick. What did he say, Mama? I love this.
He told them He said, you have a great contribution to make for the good of the church. Your suffering can help the church. Paul, in his letter to Colossians, says,
first chapter, I fill up
in my own flesh what is lacking in the sufferings of Christ.
Amen.
For the sake of his body, the church. When we suffer, we can gain great good for the church.
Well said. So embracing suffering, a person overcomes obstacles and trials. One also has the satisfaction of a duty being done.
Yeah.
A person who knows how to endure suffering also knows how to appreciate life's moments of happiness.
Yes.
By adapting the Christian philosophy. That's the solution, everybody. Our society benefits since life is based on an objective reality, not an illusion of a failed happiness. Right. And until this clarity of vision returns, society will be in a marijuana denial. No amount of arguing legislation will help turn the tide. People will vape and die, and no one will listen. Because what's our number one purpose? Pleasure. No, our number one purpose in life, I'll say it as clear as I can, to do the will of God.
Amen.
And how do we do that? By embracing Jesus Christ's message. Mary Danielle, we're going to have the Bible with the Barbers, and Mary's got something very interesting to share with today's reading, and also Our Lady of Lourdes, and much, much more. But I want to make a little commercial that says this. All you monthly donors, I want to say a big thank you.
Thank you.
On this Lady of Lourdes feast day.
Amen. Thank
That's
you.
how we pay our bills.
Yes.
And if you want to become a monthly donor, just call me on my cell phone. I'll take it. 661-972-7872. You get all kinds of benefits. And I want to also add, today's show, we were talking about mental support with, the social media. We have a Catholic mental health conference with Dr. Louis Sandoval, MD, and he was at our spiritual warfare conference, but he's coming to the chapel on April 25th for a whole day. He's going to be talking on basics of mental illness versus what we consider normal. I mean, we all need to have this because so many people are wounded in our country.
Yes, yeah, we have a lot of wounded.
He also talks about depression. You know anybody that gets depressed?
Yeah.
Come to the conference. You can get you can register by even calling 877-526-2151 or go online to virginmostpowerfulradio.org. He's also going to talk about bipolar disorder. We have relatives that have this issue, friends that have it, schizophrenia, all kinds of issues. Also, he's going to talk about drug use, altered mental status versus demonic influence. Are you kidding me? Yes, this is the man who works with the Diocese of Orange when it comes to figuring out if someone is into demonic repression or is it just a mental problem. So he's very much an expert on this. So I would encourage you to come to the conference on April 25th, 2020. And it'll be all day. So go to virginmostpowerfulradio.org or call 877-526-2151. Mary Danielle, I'm going to ask you, what state should we be living in?
We should be living in the state of grace.
Okay. And Mary, what state shouldn't we be living in?
The state of mortal sin.
Okay. She got the 100% on the test, and she's the best. And when we come back, we're going to have the Bible with the Barbers. And again, I just want to remind everybody, go to the website under events, because all of our events are laid out there. Coming up, the men's conference, our dinner we're coming up with the dinner before the men's conference for all our monthly donors. We all want to invite you then. And we want to say a big thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because this is our second year of Virgin Most Powerful with your help. And if you notice, we haven't been doing all week monthly fundraising. We do it, well, when we can, because you've been so generous. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Well, I'll say it now, full sheen ahead here at Virgin Most Powerful. Up next, the Bible with the Barbers on Virgin Most Powerful Radio.
Saint Faustina's Prayer for Priests. O my Jesus, I beg thee on behalf of the whole Church, grant it love and the light of thy Spirit, and give power to the words of priests, so that hardened hearts might be brought to repentance and return to thee, O Lord. Lord, give us holy priests. Thou thyself maintain them in holiness. O divine and great High Priest, may the power of thy mercy accompany them everywhere, and protect them from the devil's traps and snares, which are continually being set for the souls of priests. May the power of thy mercy, O Lord, shatter and bring to naught all that might tarnish the sanctity of priests. For thou canst do all things. Amen. Virgin most powerful, pray for us.